Alright, welcome to another episode of Midwest River Rat. This week's video is going to be a lot different. A few weeks ago, I had the opportunity of being a guest on a local podcast called GonadzTV. He is on Rumble, YouTube. He has a Facebook page, and I'll leave the links to the YouTube and the Facebook page down in the description below. Through that, you can find the links to all his other social media locations. So I got permission from him to put this podcast on my channel now because I'm a little bit bigger than him and been doing this for about a year now. So to try to get him some traction, I'm going to show you guys this podcast that I'm on. And then if you like that, you can go check out whatever other content he has on his YouTube channel. I apologize to anybody that has already seen this podcast. I greatly appreciate that you went over to his channel and watched that after I shared it on my Facebook. So hopefully a lot of you haven't seen this, so maybe it'll be an enjoyable experience for you to watch. So in this podcast, we find out a little bit more about how I grew up fishing and some stuff about him and what he likes to do when he's fishing. So without rambling on any more than I already have, welcome to the podcast. That is not actually my podcast. Yeah, now it is.
All right, it is April 12th. GonadzTV. We are here with Midwest River Rat.
Howdy.
My podcast equipment ain't recording correctly, so we've done like 40 million takes on this, and my shit ain't working.
The audio is coming through the headphones, but it's not recording my mic.
So anyway, we're gonna start this out. GonadzTV.
We're using my GoPro now.
Yeah.
So we're using the Rat Cam 2.
The Rat Cam 2.
Yeah.
All right. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Midwest River Rat, you're on YouTube, and you go around various rivers around Midwest, or just Wisconsin for now, or?
I mean, being limited financially, it's just as far out as I can reach. So I'll go to the Mississippi as much as possible. I'm gonna try to do that more this year, but I grew up fishing lakes, mostly. I got into rivers like 10 years ago or so. My buddy got me into rivers, and we actually fished the Menominee Dam for the first time. Is really when I got into rivers.
Yeah, and I'm a bass guy, and I fished down south, some of my BFLs, a little bit of FLW, and those are all big river systems down there. And actually,
so you fish tournaments in rivers?
Well, Tennessee River, the Tuscaloosa River, Logan Martin Dam, all of them are reservoir systems, but they all have dams.
Okay, so they're behind dams.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And they're all as big as the Mississippi.
Okay.
One example, like these guys, I think you would love it, because I've seen some of your videos. You do some pretty risque shit. This guy climbs on trees and stuff for lures.
Extreme lure retrieval. You gotta collect that lure harvest every year.
Yeah, but I saw guys, like, when the turbines, you gotta check when the turbines are going down there on some of these dams, because it's all hydroelectric power. So when they turn the turbines on, the fish move up by the dams for the fish. Mm-hmm. So what happens is they take their 12-foot or 16-foot aluminum boat, and they just throw a minnow on or a worm. They motor up there, cast their line out, and they just float back, and nearly 99% of the time they'll have something.
Really?
Whether it's a sheephead, a white bass, a striper,
yeah,
smallmouth, largemouth, and actually there's like several of them doing it, and they just go in a round robin circle.
Right in front of the dam?
Everybody takes their turn.
Below the dam?
Yep, below the dam.
Okay.
Everybody takes their turn with their boat and just cast up in there, and it's like a freaking clockwork thing.
Wow.
And obviously, what started you fishing as a kid?
I can't remember not fishing. My grandpa and my mom. Well, my mom grew up fishing with her dad, my grandpa, and then my dad's side of the family did not fish. They're farmers from Wisconsin, and they didn't fish at all. So my dad tried fishing out of the creek when he was a kid with a wooden stick and salami. And the creek's like this wide.
Is that like
this deep?
Is that like on Little House in the Big Woods where they put the bread dough ball on the hook and
So-
she's catching all the fish and the guy's looking at
I
it
guess
like,
that's what Grandma gave him for bait instead of digging up worms. But he didn't catch anything. The most I ever saw in that creek, and we grew up in that creek, it was a fish like maybe in 1 minnow that big ever. And so it turned him off to fishing. No one would ever take him. So my mom and Grandpa are definitely to thank for the fishing. They hunted, but my dad's to thank for the hunting.
Yeah. My dad was more of a hunter. He wasn't that great of a fisherman. I grew up in eastern Wisconsin. We have a lot of smaller rivers, a lot of northern pike.
Yeah.
But there's bass. Well, there's pike everywhere.
Is there more bigger pike?
Some. One thing I noticed about pike in my local river where I always went was, and here's a tip from me, experience that I've had. The first humid day, and actually Bob at the bait shop can tell you this, the first really hot and humid day in the summer, pike go absolutely crazy. You know, they always say gators of the south, you know, when it gets humid and hot, their metabolism speeds up.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Gators of the north are the same way. When it gets hot and humid, pike go absolutely crazy because the bluegill spawn is just over, so they put on the feed bag.
Yeah.
But when it's really hot and humid and sticky outside, pike are on. They're biting to beat hell. I took Bob out.
Yeah.
And before we went fishing, I went above the dam here in Menominee here.
Okay. Yep.
And I just went to the boat landing park where all the boathouses are, and I cast it out and I caught a 30-incher, and I'm like, that was 2 casts. I'm like, yeah, it's hot and humid. It's going to be the. We proceeded to catch 35 northern that day on Monoman. He caught a 12-pounder.
Nice.
On a
How
spinner.
long was that?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, he threw it back, but it was chasing bluegills because we had a spinner bait that looked like bluegill. Yeah, you know.
Well, shit, we caught 15 between 3 of us out at that backwater off the hay, and all I used was 3 different bucktails, and 2 of them were essentially the same color. One of them just had a bell on it.
When it gets hot, bucktails, you know, that's actually a time forgotten lure. You know, my dad's tackle box is all ancient daredevils. Yeah. And he's like, if they can't bite this, well, then screw them. I'm not putting anything else on.
Well, what's crazy is from the beginning of my channel, I've caught a pike. I caught a pike with a bucktail, and then I caught a muskie with a bucktail, and then it's still cold. And then I'm showing Bob, and he's like, you shouldn't be catching fish with this right now. You just should not be catching fish with this right now. And he gives me that jerk bait, that golden black one. Yeah. And I've been slaughtering fish ever since in the fall and spring. But it's funny because I hooked a muskie this spring. Not trying, but he's there.
I saw that one, yep.
And it was a bucktail. Same exact one as last year. I'm pretty sure it was the same damn fish too.
Well, muskies are very territorial.
But Bob's saying I shouldn't even be throwing it.
What's interesting, when I was fishing down south, you know, you'd throw a bass jig, and actually, the guy we're talking about, Menominee Outdoors, Bait on Broadway.
Great guy. Great shop.
Buy, sell, and trade. We're not receiving a promo for this or anything. He's just awesome. Awesome. He'll tell you where to fish. He'll tell you where to catch the fish.
Very, very knowledgeable fishing.
But I have outfished him on many occasions, and he was down south of me fishing in Gunnersville, and he caught a catfish on a red crawfish rattle trap. And he was like, what in the Sam heck is this all about? You know, and he's like, that's the first time I've ever done that. I said, we got to realize there's a lot of catfish down here. When you're going up in these rivers, you got to watch out for the jug fishermen. What's really bad for bass fishermen is when you're fishing in a tournament and you see a guy pull up a jug with a 5-pound bass on, you're like, I need that. I can't have it.
I've heard that a lot of jug and trot line guys have almost wars with bass guys. Like, they'll cut their lines and shit. I've seen on Facebook groups a lot of guys talking about their jugs getting sent down river or trot lines cut. And
well, it's a matter. I've never done that. It's a sportsmanship. You know, the water is shared by everybody.
Those are a low level person doing that. I'm not saying they all do it.
It's just like on swamp people.
It happens.
It's just like on swamp people when somebody else hangs a line and somebody else and steals the gator. Or whatever. All right, now one other thing this guy does in his videos, he does some crazy ass lure retrievals. Yeah, I watched your video the other day, and you were on the ice on a river, seeing if you could retrieve a lure that was in a overhanging tree.
Was I
with
throwing
your
at it?
Yeah, you were throwing at
And I
it.
was on ice.
You were on ice. You were in open water. You know, I'm a bigger guy. I sink. I am not doing it. I'm like a Chevy. I sink like a rock.
I know which one you're talking about.
And then
That was last year.
how many lures have you gotten out of trees?
I don't even know. But you know, with how many I find, there's a guy that watches my videos in eastern Wisconsin, I believe, Davey, and he finds like 5 or 10 a day. And he's not on YouTube. I keep telling him, you need to start YouTube because you catch so many fish and find more
some kind
lures.
of channel.
But every day he's posting on Facebook like this many freaking lures that he finds every single day.
And there is a market out there for antique lures. I don't know how many of these are antique, but
No, but I stomped on the ice in that video.
Yeah.
to make sure.
No, me not doing that. No. I'll go out in a hovercraft before that happens.
I watched that video with my grandma next to me when she saw that one. She was like very nervous for me. But I'm sitting right next to her, so I mean, obviously I made it.
Well, I'm like 6 feet tall, 270. You're like 5'7".
7. Yeah, 7.
A buck
30.
there. So, you know, ice is a different character. All right. What is the biggest fish and multiple species that you've caught? I mean, obviously you do a lot of you do a little catfishing in summer where you kind of camp out on the river at night.
That's pretty much what we did for the last, aside up to last year, we fished catfish almost exclusively for 3 years because I've just found out about them.
What's the biggest one? I know you had some big.
My biggest flathead is 25 pounds. We caught that on camera last spring. Out of the hole that is actually in the video that I just uploaded today. So
Brand new video uploaded today.
Yeah, I just uploaded one. The kid rat caught a big fish. But
we'll get him. I got him on the next question here.
Brian caught a 38 pounder the night before my 25 pounder. So we spent 2 nights on that creek mouth
fish.
That's my biggest flathead. My biggest channel is 15 pounds, 14 ounces. That was on the Mississippi on my last 2 years ago river trip. My biggest sturgeon, I'm not positive. The biggest one I measured was 53 inches.
I saw that one.
That one was not on camera, but the one that I have on camera, I'm pretty sure was close. Either that or bigger.
And you can, I know up here you can only get like one. You can put in for a sturgeon tag on the river, but I mean,
it's 1 month in September, I think.
I come from Lake Winnebago area where there's a sturgeon spearing season through the ice.
Yeah, I've seen that stuff online.
That's pretty cool, and they cut that off. You know, it's better for the fish because it takes a sturgeon 25 years to mature to actually lay eggs. And I don't like caviar, so I just like eating the fish. Caviar, no caviar for me.
Personally, I think the sturgeon is, like, I understand people will abuse it and it could get wiped out, but I think the regulations are a little bit strict just because there's so damn many of them.
Well,
and it's just, I'm just talking about the fact that every other person you talk to will tell you shouldn't even touch the fish. You got guys that say you should cut the line, you should leave it in the water, unhook it, you shouldn't even be taking pictures. And I disagree with that. Like, if it's the law, it's the law. I'm not positive on how well they enforce that kind of stuff, but take a photo and let it go.
A little more on that. Lake Winnebago area, there was a lot of people taking them out of season. And these fish get to be, 75, 100, 160 pounds. To get the average sturgeon in a river, they're not going to get that big because they don't have as much food.
Yeah.
But they're a prehistoric fish, and they're a rough fish. They can be out of water for a while and still do really good.
They're not as delicate as people think. Yeah. Like, I mean, obviously you don't want to have it out in the heat and, like, getting it dry and full of dirt, but, like...
It's the same as pulling a muskie out of the water and taking a picture and putting it back in.
I have my gripes about muskie guys too. So.
We all got gripes about
I don't know how far you want to get into all that, but fish are not fish are not as delicate as people think.
Oh yeah.
Like,
and there's several things with bass guys and bass fishermen, and we have the biggest boats, and you're wrecking the shoreline and all. I'm not even getting into that. Whatever.
Every fisherman that likes a certain kind of species is gonna have his gripes about the other.
Bias to that species.
Me, I like them all. I think they're all ridiculous when they get on their tantrums and.
Yeah, like northerns, they have serious anger issues, kind of like muskies do. So, biggest catfish, what's biggest northern?
Biggest northern is only 30 inches.
You're gonna have to work on that one.
Well, see, I've lost my biggest a couple times on the Chippewa last 2 years ago. And then, for some reason, every spring, targeting bass and pike, because that's what I legally can target. You can give me all the crap you want for hooking a muskie, but it happens. Last 3 springs in a row. I've landed them 2 years ago, last year, and obviously lost this one.
And now Wisconsin just passed the catch and release
for bass.
So, yeah, but okay, you're fishing for bass.
Yeah.
How many times does a northern bite it? How many times does a muskie bite it? How many times do I get bit off by something?
They all eat the same thing.
You don't know what's gonna bite.
They all eat the same thing. You cannot give me crap for hooking a muskie. Because I got crap on a Wisconsin Facebook group. This is what this all is referring to. There's a couple morons on a Facebook grit fishing group. Boy, I can't stand people that target muskie out of season, and I really enjoyed watching that hook fly out of its mouth. And then a couple other guys hopped on there, and I'm just like, you guys are so high up on your horses. Like,
everybody needs to chill out and relax.
They all eat the same damn thing. They all live in the same damn tree stump. Like, you cannot. When the DNR says I can target bass and pike, you are not going to make me feel bad for hooking a muskie out of season. It's not going to happen.
You don't know what's going to bite.
If you really want to get into it, my muskie rod is in the closet. The reason I lost that muskie in that video was because it was a bass rod. They're not made for sinking a hook into a bone jaw like that.
No, they're not.
They're
unless you're down south and you catch.
I may have hooked that muskie and got him in if I had my muskie rod, but they're out of season. I have the muskie rod in the closet. You can't make me feel bad for hooking it.
Everybody gets butthurt about everything. It's even pointless. All right.
I just had to touch on that. It doesn't make me feel bad, but it still grinds my gears that people are that high and mighty.
Everybody's on a trip right now to hurt somebody else, or everybody gets offended. Mother Nature doesn't care.
The best part, though, is one of them left a thumbs down, and I giggle at that because it helps my algorithm. Also, they watched it. All 3 of those guys griping about it watched my video because they said things that told me that they actually watched it. So, haters are good.
Yeah.
Because I got 3 views from these guys and a thumbs down. You know what that tells YouTube? Hey, there's people watching this video. We're going to promote it more.
Keep hating.
So, yeah, keep on bringing it.
Catching fish. If you can't catch them, then, obviously.
and the other part that makes me giggle is they're sitting there, instead of fishing and enjoying their life, they're sitting there watching my video bitching at it.
To get better at fishing, you actually have to
Who's the
fish.
idiot? Who's the idiot?
It's one of those things. Like I'm gonna make videos and do all that stuff because that's really what I like to do is the outdoors. Totally.
Yeah.
Kid Rat. Now, Kid Rat is your son.
Mm-hmm.
He's a cute little bugger. He's on the videos with him. They go scouting and lure retrieval, and
he films.
It's
really awkward watching that and editing it, but
a little shaky.
A few headaches later, you get through it and find a few clips that work.
But at least he's involved, and I saw him in one video. He's camping, and he's catching some big fish.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's cool. Kids in the outdoors.
The funny
is awesome.
thing about that is he watches lots of kids' YouTube channels with toys and gaming and all that at his mom's. I've been brainstorming for years because warehousing has been killing me. The 9 to 5, I can't stand it.
Yeah.
But I was raised a hard worker, so I do it. But I've been brainstorming on how to get my hobby into a career so I can do something I love and still be able to support myself and my kid. And I've been thinking of like lure making and all kinds of other things, and the thing that kept me from doing YouTube was the publicity. Is do I want my life on camera? And he's been begging to do a YouTube channel because of all the stuff he watches. The kids are all over the YouTube now.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, well, if I make YouTube fishing channel, he'll be in it, and then we kind of both get what we want.
We were like, you have to do it with me. You have to fish with me. You have to camp with
But
me.
with
Okay.
all the child rules, with all the rules and everything they have going on YouTube, I didn't want to make a child channel.
Yeah.
I just did not want to dive into all that. So I'm like, you can be on my channel, and you can be in it and participate, but then I don't have to deal with all the child
rules and because
Yeah.
YouTube is coming out with rules and regulations every day. And actually, after we're done here, I'm going to show you about Rumble.
Yeah.
And other stuff like that.
But he loves it. He gets into it. Some videos he's too tired to care, but he participates and talks to the camera.
I remember when I was a kid and I went out hunting or fishing, I zonked out pretty hard. Fresh air kills. It really does. You get out of the house, you'll be tired. Fresh air is awesome. It's great. Goals with your channel. Where do you want to take it? How long have you been doing it?
Since last winter. I think I started filming before spring.
Okay. Yeah, when he's walking on river ice. Yeah.
Well, I couldn't fish it, so
And I'm versus starting out. I'm doing a little bit of podcast, hunting and fishing. You know, I used to be in the barbecue business. Not going to be barbecuing much anymore. You know, I really want to concentrate on what I love. And talking to people like this guy right here, he loves fishing. My kayak, you have a kayak too, right? Mm-hmm. My kayak has 200 horsepower. Well, it used to anyway. I
have motors that are supposed to be on my kayak, but I just haven't gotten there yet.
I don't fit in a kayak too well. Actually, one time there was a water golf.
You just have to have the right one.
Yeah.
I mean, Ascend makes a 13-footer now.
I gotta get a trailer for it.
I'm working on looking for a trailer.
There was a water golf tournament on Jake's years ago on Tainer Lake.
Okay.
And they wanted me to, I was just helping out, and they wanted me to collect golf balls, the floating golf balls. What happens is it was a fundraiser for Special Olympics. Float? Yeah, you can buy a floating golf ball.
Really?
Well, it was a fundraiser for Special Olympics, and they put an inner tube out in the water, and you hit the ball from land, and then a bunch of local pontoons were caddies, and they were taking you to the different holes around the lake. So you might have had a couple adult beverages, you know, going to a different hole, and whoever won, you know, won prizes, door prizes, stuff like that. They wanted me to collect balls, and I'm like, they wanted me to sit in a canoe? No. I had a bass boat at the time. I trolled around. I was the groundskeeper. I sat with my live wells full of, you know, some adult beverages, and just sat on my chair all day and trolled around with a big net collecting the golf balls.
While they were hitting them at you?
Well, no, they were hitting and trying to get in here too, and I just went in afterwards, and they're like, "You can't do that. You can't get in a foot and a half of water with that thing." I'm like, "Make a bet." We're gonna do this stuff.
I love it when people tell you can't do something. That's half the reason I do such crazy shit is because people tell me I shouldn't. Like, I'm not gonna name names, but there's people that tell me every time I go on that solo river trip on the Mississippi, they legit tell me I shouldn't.
Well,
and I'm like, bring a friend, and I'm like, no.
I know. Do you watch Mountain Man?
Like a show, a TV show, or YouTube? No.
It's a mountain.
I don't have TV. I've never had TV.
Yeah, I haven't watched TV
and I was homeschooled in the woods, so if you talk about TV, I'll be completely lost.
Yeah. Mountain Man, this guy, he canoed the whole Mississippi River.
There's actually a lot of people that do that nowadays. I thought it was such a cool, unique idea, and then I started YouTubing it, and there's guys doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some of them kind of cheat. They'll get a hotel somewhere and.
I mean, everybody needs some kind of rest.
Yeah, it is rough. I mean, see, the thing I do wrong with my river trips is I don't sleep. If I didn't sleep, if I slept, I could go a lot longer.
That's why he has a can of Monster on the other side of the table.
Well, that's empty. Like, I'm wishing I brought the other ones from the car in.
Yeah. I just drink, 3 mugs of coffee a day. And that's
My
just
brother
keeping me
drinks
going.
3 pots of coffee a day.
Well, 3 mugs, 32 ounces. It's a pot and a half. Is there anybody that you want to thank on your channel for anything coming up next that you're going to try, or give shout out to anybody?
Obviously everybody that watches, I don't think anybody that doesn't do this doesn't realize how much work goes into this. Like, it cuts into fishing time, it cuts into anything else in your life. Like, it's not just filming and throwing it up there. So I want to thank my grandparents, because they've always been huge supporters watching my videos. My parents have helped me out with my river trips and supported my videos. Bob at Menominee Outdoors, definitely want to thank him. He's thrown me baits and tips since almost the beginning of my channel, playing my videos in the store. Definitely a huge shout out to them at Menominee Outdoors.
Buy, sell, and trade.
GonadzTV.
GonadzTV.
GonadzTV for
Just
bringing
started.
me on. Definitely want to thank you for...
Yeah, we're going to spread the word and get you some more viewers. And, maybe I wouldn't mind camping out and catfishing for a night.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Get you on some fishing videos.
I'll take you bass fishing. Switcheroo. I got all the equipment. No bringing musky rods. Just kidding.
I definitely need to actually target. I've never actually specifically fished for... That's the funny part, is I get all this crap for fishing for these... Because the one guy went on my Facebook profile.
Yeah.
And because he commented, he's like, if you look on his profile, it looks like he's been doing this for a while. Because all my muskie have snow in the background. And it looks bad. But...
Well, one thing that they don't know, or maybe not everybody knows, okay, we live in a weird situation where below the Menominee Dam, actually everything is open year-round. Yeah, not muskie.
Minus muskie, because that's a specially coveted...
Yeah, but you don't know if when they're going to bite,
fish.
obviously. But Mississippi River is open year-round. Game fish season, above the dam, you can't fish for walleye, northern.
You can only keep 10 panfish.
Yeah.
Below it you can keep 25. So you're fishing in town and you catch 25 below the dam. You drive up the dam to go home. They pull you over. Like, the rules get so sketchy where we fish.
Down south, quick little story, hunting on public land.
Mm-hmm.
You basically have to take a DNR warden with you and a lawyer with you on certain times, certain days, so you don't cross this line on this day at this time and shoot maybe that piece of ground.
Jeez.
I mean, it's getting that difficult. Everybody just needs to relax, stop. You just relax.
Well, that's like half the time when people complain about something on the internet, and as long as it's not hurting other people's property or drastically hurting the environment or population, who really cares other than the people making the dumb laws? If I'm putting that fish back in the water, I don't care what you think about it. As long as you're not taking it home or hurting it, like, it's gonna bite, take a picture and let it go.
I actually have a t-shirt gonna be coming out, and I'm not gonna spoil it yet because I gotta get the design right, but it has to do with the recycling symbol, but in a fishing kind of way.
Yeah. See, I'm mostly catch and release. Like, it was kind of funny on that river trip, though. I ate a bass almost every single day. And the whole time...
I'm a bass fisherman!
The whole time,
No!
every time I ate that bass, I thought of a bass fisherman.
I bet he did.
But it's the easiest fish to catch out there.
Yeah, I don't fish tournaments anymore. So
I don't
really care.
flay pike yet. I just haven't dove into that, which kills my grandpa because he's gonna love this next video, me releasing 15 pike into the water. But
I've eaten pike, and obviously they have a lot of bones, and you got to flay them a separate way.
Yeah,
but a
that's
lot of
just
people
it.
like to pickle them. They're a nuisance. They're filling a lot of lakes, and I mean, but it's fun to catch them. They're like freaking torpedo.
well, I just saw a meme or somebody on the internet this morning said God created pike so that everybody catch fish, and then muskie to separate the men from the boys. I was like, I just caught 15 pike yesterday between 3 people. I had a blast. And I don't need a fish to tell me how manly I am.
That's the latest video. You do video those?
No, that won't be till 2 weeks from now because I got one more filmed that I have to edit.
There's a lot of editing that goes involved. He does way more editing than I do. I'm just gonna throw it out there. But I haven't got into the fishing videos and hunting videos. I'll be going on another trip to Iowa deer hunting next year. But because I love it down there. That's another episode for another day. But
if I cut down on my editing, I could, during the summer, I've had up to 6 or 7 videos edited, ready to drop stacked, just waiting. But I'll still only release them one a week because I want to have that cushion. Going into winter this year, I had 5 videos filmed to cushion me because ice fishing sucks.
I don't do much ice fishing anymore. Not unless I can drive
I caught
out there
fish this year. Ice fishing.
Truck.
I have 3 or 4 ice fishing videos from last year in the beginning of my channel with no fish. But that was just where I built my skill of being able to turn a fishless episode into something entertaining.
Yeah.
And that's why I keep my videos not just focused on the hook set and the fish. Like it's gonna be the whole adventure of it.
Yeah, the
because
experience.
those guys that have just that video of, okay, I'm here at the pond, cast reel, cast reel, cast reel, cast reel, cast reel, fish. All right, that was cool. Peace out. Thanks for watching.
You're really not getting much out of that.
I'm not gonna watch that video. Like, I know you're working really hard at it, but I'm not gonna watch that video.
Yeah.
And that's another thing with my name is it's not. Yeah, it's got river in it, but it's not tied to fishing. I can expand. I could have a hunting video. I could have a survival video. I could have an exploring video. It's not limited to fishing.
I mean, it's you're camping on the side of a river, which a lot of people don't do anymore. And
most people don't realize you can pretty much hop up on the bank of a river and throw up a tent and you're fine.
Yeah, it's more about the experience than it is just about the fishing, you know, and that's what the outdoors really is all about. That's
where a lot of the editing comes in, is trying to take, because 8 hours of filming does not, like, I could throw 8 hours of video up there, nobody's going to watch that, and you'll get the feel of what I go through.
Yeah.
What I have to do is I have to take 8 to 20 minutes of that 8 hours, cut it down, and try to get the parts that are going to hit your feels.
Yep.
You know, get the parts that are going to show you
a little bit of adrenaline.
Add some, go through the whole list of music that's available on my editor and try to pick that one that's going to bring out the feeling that matches what I was going through at that time, piece it together so you can experience an 8-hour day in 15 minutes.
Yeah. Yep, it's an experience. Everything is an experience, and we just, you know, as outdoorsmen, we like to experience not just catching the fish, but the actual process and the BSing with your fishing buddies.
A fishless day can be a good day on the water.
And the stories. There's always stories.
Yeah.
Whether they're good stories, bad stories, funny stories, there's always stories.
Well, that's another thing I learned about doing YouTube is almost every single YouTuber, especially outdoors ones, are going to have a disaster that generally you'd be like flipping out over, and it like almost ruins your entire like year.
The commercial that they throw the rods in the water.
Because you're filming it, now you're a YouTuber, that's clickbait now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not clickbait as in like you're trying to fool them, but it's something people are going to click. It's part of your content now. It sucks. You're going to get mad about it. But in the long run, you have to think about it's going to help the video.
Yep.
You know, take it with the roll, you know, with the punches.
Authentic.
And, you know, it helps you realize that it's not a big deal. As long as you didn't lose a limb, like...
lose a limb collecting a lure?
Because I've had some bad things happen in my videos. And, you know, it sucks, but it made a good video, and I don't think about it anymore.
It is what it is. And on that note, we will wrap it up. Midwest River Rat. We will put the links below the video.
Yeah,
you got a Facebook
Pretty
page?
much just Facebook and YouTube. I think I've been rolling around getting on other things. Instagram seems to be a really good one for like mass spreading your name.
Yep.
Like it seems like to be the one to get it out there. So I'm kind of rolling around that idea.
And like I said, I just did Rumble, and that's an up and coming one because a lot of stuff is getting censored.
Bubble wrapped.
Bubble wrap. There's a better word. Yeah, I like that word actually. Bubble wrap. That's a good one. So we'll share the links, and we'll have an adventure or two this summer.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll do some barbecuing at the new rat house.
The new rat house, yeah.
In the backyard where he's got the river right in the backyard. That's just cool. Okay. So we will catch you later, and thanks for watching.
Yeah. Peace.
That was good. I love doing shit
Sometimes
unscripted.
this remote, it'll turn.
I love doing shit unscripted. Not even a cigarette.